Okay, kia ora and shalom, friends and family. And there are a few things I want to briefly share with you right now. First, it's adaptability and flexibility while traveling. And second, my definition of righteousness. I'm going through a very interesting season, but some of you know that before I began my travel to Tajikistan and Israel, I had a goal in mind, but I was leaving some doors open, leaving it open. But I had a specific expectations from being in Central Asia and also from being in Israel. Well, and I've been knocking on certain doors, especially when I was coming to Israel. I had, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And when I came here, all the doors that I've been knocking to and hoping that they will open, so my expectations or my goals of being here would be fulfilled, none of them would open. It was very interesting. So I thought, I'll just hang out in Israel and see what will happen. And it's required adaptability and flexibility on my part of just kind of hanging in the air. And as a result, I'm absolutely astonished how the doors that I thought would open didn't open, but the doors that I absolutely didn't expect to be open completely opened. And I've met some really cool people and made some really good contacts. And I feel like my life been enriched as a result of that adaptability and flexibility and just leaving it to the Holy Spirit to lead me wherever I am. And I think one of the things that again been highlighted to me by Papa is focusing on establishing deep connections with people with absolutely no agenda and just serving people and being reflection of God's love and just being friends. And as a result, so many things happened, and that's included, prayer, and that's included prophecy and so many other things. And that was just as a result of being flexible, being adaptable, and letting God open the doors that needs to be opened. So that's just briefly on that. And the second thing, I just came from an interesting service, which was amazing. It was good. I use this word a lot, amazing. I need to increase my vocabulary. But it was really good. But one of the things that they were focusing on is how to live a righteous life, how to be holy. And, as a believers, we want to be set apart. We want to lead a very good life and be pure in our thoughts and in our actions and etc. Right? And we define that as righteousness. We define that as holiness, of absence of sin in our life, and refraining from the sin the way we define the sin. Like all the bad things that people do. And that's what the focus was, the scene. And as I was sitting there and I thinking, well, I'm going through an interesting season of completely redefining to myself what sin looks like. And as one of my favorite teachers says, Shane Willard, that you can do nothing wrong your whole life and still you haven't, would have not done anything. And that is so true, because the way my understanding of what righteousness is reflecting God's character on earth. And what Yeshua did when he was here on earth. What did he do? He actually took care of the ones that the world rejected. He took care of the widows. He took care of sick people, and he raised dead. He raised up dead, and he fed people. He actually fed people, right? And which I think, if I'm not mistaken, the word for that is tzedakah. It's, and I might be wrong, but it's doing what Yeshua did on earth instead of focusing on refraining or staying away from sin and trying hard to not do anything wrong. Because psychologically, you probably know the more you focus on something, even if you're trying not to do that, that's what's going to consume you. If I'm going to ask you, how many red cars have you seen today? You probably have no idea, but because I put that thought in your mind, the next day all you're going to see is red cars all around. And that's how just our mind works. If we focus on something, even if we're trying not to do, even if we're trying not to do bad habits, that's exactly what we do, what we're going to end up doing. However, if we are focusing on being reflection of Yeshua on earth and just simply taking care of people, stopping for one, and feeding someone who actually walked to you and asking you for help, or being so in tune with God's heart that you can see who you can help today. And of course, the need is huge. There's always need. There's always need. But it doesn't mean that we can't stop for one. And the more I live and the more I study the word, the more I realize that that's what true righteousness is. When you're not trying to refrain from wrong things, but you focus on the good things that you can do today, and how you can feed the poor, how you can take care of the sick, and how you can break those bondages of slavery in people's mind, by simply loving on them, by simply being who you are and reflecting God's character. And it all comes down to deep intimacy with the Trinity. Everything else, everything in our life is byproduct of intimacy with Him. Because otherwise, we're going to start, you work so hard at achieving something that you just burn out, or you're so in tune with God's broken heart that it just breaks you down, because there is a lot of hard things in the world. But in order for us to not get burned out when we see wars and exploitation of humanity and brokenness, it's be so in tune with God's glory and with His joy and with His love, and the rest would be a byproduct. Then God's broken heart won't break us, because we're so in tune with His heart of joy. And it all comes down to intimacy with the Trinity. And sometimes it's just be still and know that I'm God. Be still and know that I'm God. Anyways, just a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much for letting me share that with you. And thank you so much for praying for me, excuse me, and for my family and for this journey that I'm on. Thank you for being part of this journey. I love you guys much. And yes. Anyways, last second. There. How cool is that? How cool is that? I wish you could also smell what I'm smelling. It's phenomenal. Love you guys. Shalom.